Hi, it's Wyndham. I have been struggling a bit this week for a very particular reason. Everything I have seen online, on all the platforms that I'm on, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube, appears to me to be oversimplifying and generalizing the problems that we as individuals are suffering and oversimplifying, generalizing, and delivering with certainty the solutions that will fix it, the things we have to do, the things we need to do. And it drives me up the wall. And it's one of those things that I get really frustrated with. And now I know that frustration is my inability to accept what is. So in this particular case, I cannot change how other people are going to present their messages, how they're choosing to sell whatever it is they're trying to sell. I can't change it. The platforms that we are all on promote that kind of thing. There is so much content. How do you grab somebody's eyeballs? And how do you keep their attention? Clickbait. We know it's everywhere. And it just, I cannot find my way yet to accepting it and not being the resistance to it. Because that becoming the resistance ourselves to the things that we don't like, well, I'm creating the barrier. Because I cannot change how other people are going to use these platforms, the low quality of some of the content that I backed off it there, the low quality of most of the content that I've seen. I can't change that. So for me to be frustrated by it is self-defeating, and I'm the one creating the frustration. So that's lesson number one. Wherever we are suffering frustration, it is simply, frustrating use of that word as well, but it is simple. We are failing to accept what is. Now this impacts lots of areas of our lives. When we're trying to learn a new skill, for example, we can often have this sense of frustration that we aren't better than we are. Prime example. But we aren't better than we are. We are exactly where we are. Well, we can't wish that. We can wish it were different, but it isn't going to change the results. So the frustration we feel is self-generated based on our inability to accept what is. When we can accept it, we release all of that pent-up energy, all of that frustration, and we can then redirect that energy into, what do I do about this? Because if we sit in our frustration, it holds us where we are. We're fighting, we're resisting the thing that we cannot change without action, and all of our energy is going into the resistance, not the action. So my frustration at the oversimplification of the challenges that we face as human beings, and another frustration at the absolute certainty with which people are projecting solutions to the problems they've oversimplified. I have to remind myself constantly, and I do have to remind myself, that I am being the barrier. I am creating my own resistance to it. And if you've seen my other videos, our resistance to things is because our truths and our beliefs that are embedded within our blueprint and shape our automatic reaction to what is happening in the world around us and happening to us, those truths and beliefs are being challenged in some way. Right now, the truth and belief I have is we are incredibly complex, nuanced human beings. We may well be more similar than we are different, But it is in the differences that the tailoring of our problems and the solutions to our problems needs to be considered. If, conditional world, if we want to create change, if we want to solve our problems rather than a generic problem. So I have to remind myself, I am the barrier. I am creating the resistance. And when I understand why that resistance is happening, why that energetic emotional response is being created, that my core beliefs and truths are being challenged, then I'm aware of what's going on, what is actually going on, this idea of what is. And just because my truths and beliefs are being challenged doesn't mean I have to change them. It is an opportunity to reassess them. And every time I look at that belief that we are complex and we are nuanced and the challenges we face are individual, albeit they may be similar to other people's, and if they are individual, then any solution to that problem is going to require tailoring. If we want a different outcome for us personally, it is necessary for us to tailor a solution. Those are my core beliefs. And when I see overly simplified, do these 3 things and guaranteed results, and your problem is as simple as this, it frustrates me. But it gives me an opportunity to reassess those beliefs. And every time I reassess them, I come down on that. Those are the truths and beliefs for me. So I get to reassert and reassess, other way around, reassess and then reassert the validity of those truths and beliefs. For me, they are true. We are complex, we are nuanced, our challenges and problems are individual to us, albeit they might look a bit like what somebody else is struggling with. And as a result, any solution to solve it is going to need to be tailored. That's true, right? I'm happy with that as a core belief. I don't feel the need, or I don't feel I would benefit from updating those beliefs because I think they're true. And every time I assess them, I think the same thing. So what do I do about this frustration? What do I do about how I feel when I see this oversimplification in the world, this clickbaity, and then we just breathe it. I can feel a groundswell of emotion as I was thinking about what I was going to say about that, because it really bothers me. It really bothers me because those approaches will not work. Those approaches will not create long-term, lasting, meaningful, fulfilling change in our lives. And having said that as a certainty, a sweeping certainty, they might for some people. That's part of the frustration. They might for some people. It might be spot on. They might just, how the hell did you do that? But, or maybe preferably and, for the vast majority of us, they don't work. And they don't work because I think in a lot of cases they fail to, because they fail to acknowledge the nuance and complexity of us as human beings, this simple message feels appealing, but there's no connection to how we do it. There's no explanation or description of the fact that, okay, yes, I can tell people a very simple sounding solution. Of course you can. And unless I am aware and and can articulate, actually what's going to happen though is all of these little nuances and complexities of our personality and our experience and our fears and the stories we tell ourselves, all of those things, our blueprint reactions are going to conspire to derail the effort. They're going to do that. And if I don't let you know that, when they derail, when that simple solution is interrupted and we find ourselves unable to pursue it, unable to see it through, well, we fall back into our old patterns. The old blueprint snaps back and we find ourselves doing the things we used to do. And additionally, our sense of self takes one more small kicking. I had it for years. I knew I wanted change. I'd see these simple solutions and I'd go, either I'd dismiss them, or if I didn't dismiss them, I'd try them, they'd be difficult, and I'd fall off that path. And in falling off, I would judge myself. And in judging myself, my self-esteem took a kick, my confidence took a kicking, and at the end of my brief failed attempt to implement a simple solution I have been told will work, it's all I need to do, all you need to do is, at the end of failing to do that, I felt worse about myself. And I felt less capable of creating the change I really wanted. So this is really a video. It's an awareness video. I'm raising awareness to the idea that if what you read, what you see, what you hear seems too simple, seems overly simple, there's a kernel of truth at the heart of it. Almost certainly. And to expect simple to be easy, to accept or expect that the journey to, or the adventure to creating the change we want via that oversimplified solution, to expect the whole journey to be linear, to be trouble-free, to be easy, is a guaranteed way of failing to reach the goals we want to reach. We have. But I think we do. I think there are certain instances where we can use have. We have to start looking at predicting where the challenges are going to come. And if we can educate ourselves, if we can find resources that say, actually, you know what, this is a bit more complex than that. There's nuance to consider. There is a whole world of individualism in you that is subtly going to change the solutions you will require to create what it is you want to create. And looking to explore what those nuances are within ourselves and embracing them with the 6 essential elements. Compassion. It's okay, let's take the judgment out. But let's see what is, not the stories we've told ourselves, both overly inflated in certain areas and more frequently, overly negative. Can we find what is the nuance, the individualism of us that separates us from the simple, generic solution? Can we get curious, second element? Can we get curious about where those things have come from with us? Because until we really understand all of that stuff, it's like a sticking plaster over. So it might work for a while. And eventually those deeper emotions, those deeper feelings, those deeper nuances of who we are, how we have got to where we are, they're going to come back. And then we look through compassion and curiosity to get more deeply connected with who we really are. Not the person we project, not the cookie cutter, generic version of a human being that these solutions are targeted at. Not the clickbaity bullshit, but who we really are. Let's get connected to that person, that nuanced, complex, wonderful, incredible human being at the heart of it. And then when we've done that, we can build our awareness, we can build our acceptance of everything that makes us us, and start to build an intentional action plan, 100% tailored to us. And undoubtedly, that tailored intentional action plan is going to include a whole load of the things that these generic solutions talk about. Of course it will, because there's a kernel of truth in those things. But they will be tailored. They will take into account the nuance of us as individuals, not tar us all with the same brush that says, if you can't do this, then there's something wrong with you. That's the subtext I take from all of those things, because I've tried them and they didn't work for me, because I didn't understand myself well enough to understand the differences, where those generic standard, yeah, wow, these are amazing solutions weren't relevant to me. And until I did, I wasn't able to tweak all of those things. I wasn't able to try and fail at things and understand why I was failing at them. Oh, actually, you know what? Maybe that one isn't for me. That's okay. Because I'm an individual. I'm nuanced. I'm complicated. So let me go and find something else. Something that might help. Because it can only ever might help until we have found it, tried it, consistently applied it, and proved it one way or the other. So I leave you with that. Be mindful and what else do I want you to be? Be mindful of when you see these nuance-free, oversimplified expressions of the problem and a solution. Because until we get connected to who we are, really, deeply, underneath all the layers of armour and conditioning and imposition of other people's expectations, all of that, until we get to the heart of who we are, they're only ever going to be partial solutions. And until we know who we are, we can't actually be in any way clear on how we apply the solutions that we come across. I leave you with that. I wish you a peaceful and joyful few days, and I will speak to you soon.